Hey, so Sealand Open is going to run this weekend, and I've done a meta-analysis of it. Let me just bring up my famous PowerPoints. Just a sec. Here we go. So, Sealand Open is a recurring tournament that takes place over a weekend. It takes place on Sealand here in Denmark, and it is more or less a regional championships with a thematic twist, a narrative twist. This year, me and David are EOing the event. We are not going to TO it. For that, we have brought in outside help. But we are going to be the ringers as well. We are going to do much of the setup. So, yeah. The event itself is a little famous for being an event where people from outside Denmark come and play. So this year we have people from 4 different nations coming into play. We've got people from Belgium, from the Netherlands, from the UK, and from Denmark playing. We have previously also had Swedes and Polish people play. So it's an open tournament, and everything is conducted in English. So this is the meta-analysis. The event itself is an escalation event this year, and was as well last year. This year we're running 400, 800, and 1250 points. We are basing it mostly on me and David's Commander's Compendium. So we're testing quite a lot of the Compendium out, stress testing it in a real event format. And we have allowed the fanfic Danish army that is, I think it was posted on most of the international forums, but at least it is posted on the Danish Facebook page as well. It was written by Jesper Mogensen for version 3, although we may in future disallow it. It turned out that there were some things in it that maybe weren't priced correctly, but, we allowed it, so off it goes. And it's nice to actually see some Danish units on the tables. We're playing 6 games. We have 24 players from 4 different nations. So what lists are being taken? What nations are people using? Well, a lot of people are using the German lists. The armies of Germany is allowed, as is the armies of the USA. So these 2 nations are the most popular ones, but they are not massively dominating the meta here. We have 7 German lists, 5 American lists, and then we have 4 British lists. The British are making a little bit of a comeback after having been a little bit unpopular. 2 Polish lists and 2 Danish lists, and then 1 each of Italy, France, Finland, and the Soviets. So a lot of the nations that haven't really gotten anything yet have dropped out. The biggest surprise for me is absolutely the Soviets. They're not very popular at the event this year. So if we look at the different levels, so we're playing 2 games on each level, 400 points. The order dice range is between 5 and 8. Most people at 7, and the average is 7.4. And the meta is, because you could only bring a single rifle platoon, everyone is taking infantry, right? And they're spending 400 points on that infantry. Mostly that means that you're buying infantry and then giving them LMGs. You want that range, you want to be able to kill enemy infantry. It also means that almost everyone is bringing a couple of light mortars and an AT rifle. Some people are splurging a little and bringing an armored fighting vehicle in the transport slot. So we see some white scout cars, we see, Brennan carriers, stuff like that. At 800 points, the order dice range is between 9 and 15. Most people have picked between 11 and 13. And 11.1 is the average. The meta here again is because you had to copy paste your list in. You could add extra gear or extra men, but you could not remove anything. So the infantry with the LMGs is still there, and then most people either add an armored platoon with a lot of light armor or a gun line. That's what people are doing, right? Everyone did this. So they either took an artillery platoon with, AA guns or howitzers, or maybe even a heavy weapons platoon with mortars, or they took, and this is most people, they took an armored platoon and then stuffed in as much armor 7 and armor 8 as they could. Tankettes, basically. Tankettes is so popular. And I think this is really clever because tankettes are really good against infantry, and everyone will have used half their points on infantry at this point, right? So you need something that can go out and kill that infantry, but at the same time can defend itself against enemy armor. Once we get to 1250, the order dice range is between 13 and 24. 24 was the max, and there are only 2 people bringing 24. My ringer list is one of them. 13, I think, is a little low and may struggle, but we shall see. The recent WTC showed us that 13 order dice can, people can do it, but I'm not sure it's a good idea. Most people are at 16 to 19 order dice, and the average is 18.4. Which I think for 1250 is maybe a little higher than the Goldilocks zone should be, but I think that's because a lot of people for this event are investing a lot of points into their rifle platoons, so you do get high order dice counts for that. And the meta at 1250, again, light armor, LMGs, light armor spam, infantry with LMGs, light armor spam, gun lines, and then surprisingly, there's quite a few cavalry units. So at least 4 lists are cavalry heavy, including my own, and there's at least 1 extra list that has cavalry in it. So cavalry may be a thing here, and we shall try and track what happens with the cavalry units. Do they do well in the Commander's Compendium format? What are my predictions? My predictions are based on knowing all the players. There's like a few of the Dutch players that I've met but haven't actually played against, so I couldn't really evaluate them very well. But all the rest of the players, I've met them all before. I know all of them. I've seen them play or played against most of them. So I am doing a combination of list ranking 1 to 5 and player ranking 1 to 5. There are no 2-1 players here at the event. There's a couple who maybe a 2.5, so not yet a tournament player or a newer player that's still working on it. And then a lot of 3s, 3.5s, and 4s, potentially even some 5er players, like the best players in the world. But I would at least say that both Michael Fie and Danny van der Rohe are in the top bracket for me, right? They are very, very strong players. They are very, very good. And so they're at least four players, right? Michael is the current... no, he's not. He was the former ruling Danish champion, and he's been on the national team multiple times. He is bringing his Polish cavalry and tankettes, which is very much Michael. Danny also has been the captain of the Dutch team for the WTC, and he is bringing his Americans, which is what he loves, what he plays all the time. This is right into what he plays all the time. He did this a lot in version 2, very successfully, including winning many tournaments, including some in Denmark. So we shall see if that translates well into version 3 for him. Then we have Michael Hahovic Christensen, which is the only player who brings his Soviets. Mark is also an incarnate Soviet player. He's been on the Danish national team. I think he could do well. Lars Andreasen has captained this year's Danish national team, and he's brought a very nasty list of Danish. So a bunch of Landsberg armored cars, which is a very, very favorably priced Danish car. So and he can really do well with that. That amount of armor spam can be difficult to counter. And then Christian Lyngvall, of course, I'm going to have him here. He's been on the Danish national teams. He's done very well in tournaments with this particular mix. He always plays Brits, right? And he mixes a mixed British bag of different elements with a heavy tank, right? And at the last Danish nationals, I played against him twice using more or less that list. One of the times he nearly beat me. He was up and we were playing kill points, and I was one order dice away from losing that game. And the other time I won. So he knows how to play this list, right? This is a list that he could do well with. So I think we shall find the winner among these 5. Will they all end up in top 5? I think it's pretty likely that a couple of them at least will. And I think it's pretty likely as well that most of them will end up in the top 10. What are my main takeaways? Well, Soviets is still falling behind in popularity, which is still a surprise to me. I still think the Soviets are really good. If I was going to play this tournament to win, I would definitely consider running Soviets. Denmark may be too good. But, 2 players, it's not a massive problem. It's not a massive meta problem yet. I think we just have to sit down with the author and maybe adjust some points at some point in the future. Light armor is definitely king. There are a couple of lists that are not bringing light armor, and I'll try to track those as we go. But oh man, is that powerful, and you can take so many tanks. I think the highest number is 11 or 12 light armor vehicles in a double armor platoon, right? Cavalry is surprisingly popular, as I said. Mixed bag lists are everywhere, which I feel like is really good for the meta. It's really good because everyone is trying out different stuff and then figuring out what they want to do, and they're not building very mono-build lists at all. But there is very, very little recce platoons and engineer platoons in Denmark. Basically, we have 1 engineer platoon going to this event, and that's it. So the meta in Denmark is very clear. We're not using that. Nope. We're not using that. So yeah, that's interesting in itself. So thank you so much to David, who has been compiling the lists and checking them. And let's see how it goes, everyone. See you next weekend. Cheers.